on the news tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari assures United Nations of his commitment to conducting free and fair elections in 2019. In business, federal government earmarks 13 billion naira for housing projects in the 2018 budget. And on the foreign scene, court charges former Angolan president Jose Santos with fraud allegations. Hello and welcome to SuperScreen News at 8. I am Olamide Onwuka. Many thanks for joining us tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured the United Nations of his commitment to conducting free and fair elections in 2019. President Buhari gave assurance when the UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed met him in Abuja. Muhammadu Buhari undertook a two-day visit to Nigeria from March 23rd to 25th, where she met with the president in Abuja and interacted with all the senior officials and stakeholders in Lagos State. The President and Deputy Secretary General discussed four main issues, which are the 2019 elections, deportation of Cameroonian asylum seekers, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and the humanitarian and security challenges in the northeastern Nigeria. The Senate has begun a fresh move to amend the Electoral Act 2010, and a new bill on the amendment is to be presented and passed by the Senate for the first reading today. You will recall that the House of Representatives had reintroduced the bill last week. The first version of the bill, which was introduced in the House of Reps, had been passed by the National Assembly but vetoed by President Muhammadu Buhari. The bill had sought to reorder the sequence of polls during a general election, which was generated controversy over the allegation that it was targeted at President Buhari in the 2019 general elections. And our Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed April 25th for judgment in the suit filed by Accord Party AB. The suit is challenging the legitimacy of National Assembly to reorder the schedule of 2019 general elections released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Justice Mohammed gave the date after entertaining arguments from parties on whether or not the National Assembly possessed the power to alter the schedule of elections released by INEC or interfere with the constitutionally granted power of the electoral body to fix dates for and organize elections. The National Assembly, represented by Joseph Daudu, SAN, urged the court to decline jurisdiction and dismiss the suit immediately. The plaintiff, represented by Wole Olanipekun, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and INEC, represented by Femi Falano, SAN, urged the court to grant the plaintiffs reliefs. The Senate has emphasized the need to make provisions for human capacity development in the 2018 budget. Senate members expressed this view at the opening of a two-day public hearing on the 2018 budget organized by the Joint National Assembly Committee on Appropriation. Details in this report.
The hearing opened a two-day public hearing on the 2018 budget. Senate President Bukola Saraki said Nigeria needs to prioritize human capital development in the spendings, even as it focuses on infrastructural projects. The session was premised at providing an avenue for richer inputs from Nigerians at all levels.
Not continue to take lip service when agencies who are part of this change of fighting corruption, dropping leakages, are continuing to run the agencies without having not to submit their budget. If Mr. President can submit the national budget in November, I cannot see any excuse why the MD or head of an agency can decide up to March and still not submit. We must find a solution to this, and I hope that this forum will use the opportunity going forward, reaching a conclusion in this area, which was very important.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, assured that more emphasis will be paid on getting revenue projections right in the future. Chairman of the Appropriation Committees in both chambers acknowledged numerous petitions, complaints, and recommendations to expunge inappropriate and wasteful estimates by a number of NDAS in their possession.
If not for zonal intervention projects, many communities in Nigeria would never have enjoyed any form of federal government patronage. My constituency is an example. Put differently, zonal intervention projects represent the only evidence of federal government presence in most rural communities in Nigeria. I stand to be contradicted. Consequently, as representatives of the people, no amount of blackmail from any quarters will force us to abandon our resolve to ensure even development. The quality of the budget is not in its size or content, but it is in its effective implementation. I will therefore employ stakeholders and indeed all Nigerians that as they are beginning to show interest in the budget-making process, they should show even greater interest in the implementation of approved budgets.
We are all scientists and laboratory technicians ready to mix and condition chemicals in the recently launched ERGP laboratory to get the best result for our people. The hearing is also an entrenched part of the 8th National Assembly legislative agenda of openness in governance and public sector matters. Because the people we represent deserve to know and should know how their Commonwealth is being shared.
For the Minister of Budget and National Planning, it was an opportunity to elaborate on the expected gains of the 2018 budget. Meanwhile, subcommittees saddled with the responsibility of interfacing with various MDAs on their 2018 estimates are expected to hand in their reports latest Thursday, March 29.
The total revenue that we project, federal government share of the revenue, will be 2.441 trillion naira. That is all revenue. We also have the share of Nigeria's, the country's dividends from NLNG set at 29.92 billion naira. We have the share of federal government share of mineral revenue set at 1.17 billion naira. The share of non-oil revenue to the federal government is set at 1.385 trillion naira. And this is, of course, made up of CIT, VAT, customs revenue, and also other federation account levies.
The event was attended by ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, international development partners, civil society organizations, and other critical stakeholders.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released the details of the recall process for the senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melai. According to the new schedule released on Monday and signed by the Electoral Commission Secretary, Augusta Ogakwe, INEC is expected to give the notice of recall as stipulated by law on March 27, 2018, while the verification exercise will hold on April 28, 2018. The outcome of the verification will be released the following day, which is April 29, 2018. INEC is acting on the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which asked the Commission to go ahead with the process earlier this month. The National Executive Council of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, will take a position on the controversial issue of tenure extension for the National Working Committee led by John Oyegun. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, disclosed this to journalists after a meeting of the party's National Caucus held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Dogara said the caucus meeting was held to prepare agenda for the NEC meeting, confirming that the controversial tenure extension was on the agenda. In other news, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has confiscated expired drugs worth over 5 million naira from a drug dealer in Ariaria Market in Aba, Abia State. The state coordinator of NAFDAC, Ulisa Okeke, who disclosed this to journalists, said the agency got information that the dealer was used to stocking expired drugs, changing their expiry dates and selling them to unsuspecting members of the public. According to the coordinator, who also said NAFDAC officers investigated the shop and swooped on it and successfully confiscated many common drugs with March 2017 expiry dates and awaiting revalidation. Okeke said the dealer ran away but gave assurance that NAFDAC would do its best to ensure that he is arrested and prosecuted. The Nigerian Customs Service has arrested 4 suspects in Sokoto State for allegedly smuggling 589 bags of imported rice concealed in the petrol tanker. The controller of NTS in Sokoto State, Kebbi and Zamfara Command, Nasera Ahmad, who disclosed this to journalists, said the smuggled items, which were intercepted on Sunday along Kokoyori Road in Kebbi State, had 11.1 million naira duty paid value. Ahmad also said when the bags of rice were removed from the petrol tank, they have been contaminated by black oil, which is dangerous to human health. The comptroller advised smugglers to find alternative legal means of livelihood and stop undermining the nation's economy. He appealed to the people, especially those residing in border communities, to assist officials of the command with relevant information to track down smugglers. Coming up on SuperScreen News at 8. The federal government earmarks 13 billion naira for housing projects in 2018 budget. These and many more stories coming your way after this break.
I'm here to talk to you about the Infinity Card. The Infinity Card is a preloaded card that provides safer, easier, and faster financial services. Because it's not linked to any bank account, it eradicates the risks of exposure to your bank accounts. With it, you can plan your giving and expenses while staying within your budget. The Infinity Card works perfectly well for online transactions. With the self-service reloadable plan, it helps you diversify and distribute with no stress. It can be used to make withdrawal on any ATM nationwide. It offers a safe and secure alternative to handling bulky cash since it's acceptable at any point of sale. Concerned about security? We've got you covered. Apart from eliminating the risks of exposure to your bank accounts, the Infinity Card is secure as an entity. Don't go another day without it.
For more information, visit www.myinfinitycard.com or call 0908-248-0591. The Infinity Card is also available at face value and loadable at any quick teller enabled ATM across the country.
Welcome back to SuperScreen News at 8, and for some business stories. The federal government has earmarked the sum of 13 billion naira for housing projects in the 2018 budget. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, stated this at the conclusion of the budget defense for the house sector at floor of the Senate. According to the minister, the 13 billion naira is to be injected into completion of housing projects across the country, out of which 10 billion naira will be used to expand on the completion of building projects.
The 36 billion is the inherited liabilities pre-2015 from 1999 backwards. That's the liabilities that we inherited as it relates to those constituency and intervention and MDG projects. Now, the 13 billion that we propose for this year is to spend only 3 billion on any new projects and use 10 billion to complete some of these projects and begin to partly wind down that 36 billion. Because some of them have left site, now that they see that government is committing funding by budget, some of them have popped up again. And we're saying, go and finish. We'll pay you. So that's our plan.
Leader of the Senate Committee on Housing, Barnabas Gemadi, expressed delight at the transparent and prompt conclusion of the budget defense and called on other ministries to follow suit. On the spot, Senator representing Anambra Central, Victor Ume, called on the minister to find ways of reducing costs for federal government.
the report as we see it today. I know that many of them have been working weekend hours into the night to make sure that they produce what we have here today.
I'd like to emphasize more on the need for this national housing scheme. The reason being that I am aware that there are so many players in the real estate sector of the economy, private developers, all manners of people are involved, PPP with some state governments, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, what is most important is the affordability of the houses that these schemes turn out. And most of them are driven by profit-making motives, and people have heavier reliance on what the federal government can do for the citizens in terms of social responsibility.
Latest data released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, shows Nigeria earned 3.738 trillion naira from the export of crude oil and petroleum products in 3 months from October to December 2018. The NBS and its foreign trade statistics for the fourth quarter of 2018 showed that petroleum products exports accounted for 95.58% of Nigeria's total exports in the preview on the review. Given a breakdown of petroleum products exports, the report showed that crude oil exports stood at 3.255 trillion, representing 83.22% of the sector's total export of liquefied natural gas, and exports stood at 4.16588 billion. Other petroleum gases stood at 28.42 billion, amassing the total. The federal government has commenced negotiations with all service providers on the Treasury single account in a bid to reduce the cost of running the policy. The Accountant General of the Federation disclosed this to journalists in Abuja, said the TSA has saved the government about 40 billion naira monthly that was being paid as bank charges. The government is still seeking ways of cutting costs. Idris had earlier appeared before another committee of the House of Representatives which was investigating the operations of the Treasury single account. Still talking business, the federal government says aviation security personnel of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, will soon be licensed to carry arms at the airports across the country. The Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, who disclosed this to journalists at the 2018 AVSEC's retreat, said discussions on initiatives are being finalized for approval. The minister, who was represented at the retreat by the rector, Nigerian College of Aviation Technology in Zaria, Captain Mohammed Abdulsalami, said arming AVSEC members would ensure proper policing of the airports. Sirika said the move would further strengthen the integrity of the airports and the view of the growing threats to the aviation industry. Still ahead tonight, court charges former Angolan President Jose Santos with fraud allegation. That's on the foreign scene. These and many more stories coming your way after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back.